There's a lot of stuff that I've had built. As far as the Great Lakes, um, I'm not sure. I know I built three or two. I built two of the locks. Like I said, I would build locks a lot of times. I mean, my Panama locks, um, other stuff. Like I said, my earliest locks were made out of wood. And back in the old days, you couldn't use metal unless you're going to use gold. By the way, I might have some golden locks or silver locks. There might be you might find some rare metal locks with LS, like a golden lock or something like that, where it's actually like gold used for the metal doors or something like that. Because that's in the old days. You either used wood or you used gold or silver. So you might actually find some gold or silver solid locks at some point in time in the past. Um, Legendary golden locks. Like I say, with LS, um, well, I mean, with me, things are a bit different. So I think I did have some gold locks, actually, now that I think about it. Um, oh, well, I guess I can't find that. That's weird. Anyway, so you might look around and look at some history things, and you might see some golden locks. It wasn't her hair. LS golden locks. You might find some gold locks, some actual golden doors made of gold, so and wood or something like that. So you probably look in the history books, and you'll probably see golden locks or silver locks or something like that. And I mean like Panama locks, great big huge steel or gold doors made of gold or silver. Yeah, I've done some things like that where anytime you're gonna work in water, you need something durable and tough, and just iron. Iron didn't actually get perfected as far as a stable iron, stable steel. Like I said, they used to call it stable steel or stable iron, and what that means is stabilized iron or stabilized steel, stabilized cast iron, that kind of thing. I had my stable steel or stable iron, which was basically like better than pig metal. Basically, it wouldn't flake on you in like 3 or 4 years. It lasts like 30 years or 40 years before it started to degrade or something like that. And I got some of the best iron after that. That would literally last almost forever. Like I said, iron in the old days, even in a clean, dry environment, even in bathed in oil, the iron would still come apart on you. It was a problem of how it was made, and the oxygen just got in there, and it was a process. Um, but enough minerals, enough stuff mixed in with it, and what the problem was is that they didn't have any of the really good molecules. They had basically the cheesy molecules, the normal kind. You got to get temperatures up to like 50,000 degrees. You got to get up to I kept telling them when I was young. I was like, you got to get up to 50,000 degrees or 100,000 degrees. You got to get that temp. If you don't have that temperature, you're not going to get the metal. Just don't even bother. A lot of people are like, what do you mean? It's like I was like, I mean, you need a lot of heat. You need coal. You need water. You're gonna need some heat, some real heat. If you ain't got the real heat, then you're not gonna get the iron. And that's just the way it is. It's physics. So anyway, and like I say, another thing you can do is use electromagnets and stuff like that, and go back and forth, and that really gets those molecules to just those little particles to go. And when it's going back and when the particles are going back and forth in the metal mix, and they'll show this on some of the diagrams of how you really smelt. To really smelt and get the iron, what you have to do is get the particles to basically go back and forth, because as those particles, as those molecules, as those iron or iron oxides and all those molecules, basically you apply a magnetic pull over here. And then you apply a magnetic pull over here, and you can kind of push with this one. Turn this one to a negative magnet, and go. And when you get those molecules to just go back and forth inside of a 50,000 degree or as hot as you can possibly get it temperature, kiln or container, When you get those molecules to just go back and forth, that's when the magic happens. That's when you really, because as those molecules go across, they'll go, "Hey, I like you." When as they shift from one side of the containment vessel to the other side, that's when, because the protons, the neutrons, electrons, all those different little like elements, all the particles, all the iron particles, all the metal particles, they'll start to like go back and forth. And as they go back and forth, they'll pick up things. Iron really likes things. Iron's like, "Hey, I like you." Ooh. And it doesn't like to give it up. Once it grabs on, it doesn't really want to give up. Anyway, there's more to it, of course, but that's basically the basic idea of it. As the particles go back and forth, they pick up things, and they become bigger molecules and particles. Anyway, that's the basic theory of it. It's just all in a theory. It's just a theory. Anyway, so we had a lot of gold. We have a lot of different things. Lots of heat, lots of power, and lots of electromagnetics and stuff. Because magnetics or basically, that's where it's at. That's where everything's at. Gravity, molecule creation, everything. As far as I knew. Anyway, and I was epic LS, epic Lucifer star. So anyway, yeah. And then sun, stars, star creation, all that stuff. It wasn't exactly it's not exactly a great secret. Basically you can take particles and using heat and electric power, electromagnetics and stuff, and all these particles, using particles and stuff like that, you can create bigger particles, more complicated particles, and you can keep your metal or your particles together. Otherwise, particles, that's another thing that they hail LS as, is basically the person that helped people learn how to make these more complicated particles. Before everyone thought, how do you do it? How do you do it? And it's like, well, electromagnetics, magnets basically running power around the piece of metal a lot of times. People laughed at me when I was like, I want to take a piece of metal and wrap a piece of wire around it a lot of times, and then apply a positive current on this side and take a negative and take a negative current on that side and see what happens. Anyway, a lot of people laughed at me. A lot of people are like, "Why would you want to do that?" And then they did it. They're like, "It's magic! Oh my God! Wow! Oh my Lord! Oh my Lord!" Yeah. I mean, because basically, Anyway, so they didn't understand why it worked. They just knew it worked. So, and that's why LS. That's why LSF flyers, LS, the F, colony ship. That's why everything happened, because I knew how to do it. And we did do it a lot. And it was good. It was really, really good. I had done it with other races, with other life forms, and lots of things. So, it's not exactly a new thing for me exactly. So, I was like, yeah, I know I'm good. I know I'm amazing. So, anyway, and there's a lot of other things you can do with magnetics. And then they went off and started playing around with magnetics and particle streams and everything else like that. It's like, yeah, well, whatever. Anyway, I was super epic. So, yeah. Yeah, that's how I got the LSF 71s and LSF colony ship and everything else. Yep.